Phyllis George is here. In 1971, she won the title of Miss America. She then went on to launch a career in broadcasting and ultimately became the first woman to co-anchor the National Football pregame show, NFL Today. Throughout her varied career, she has also been an author, an actress, and an entrepreneur. Her new book is called Never Say Never. I am pleased to have my friend Phyllis George at this table for the very first time.
I know, and I wanted to see this table. This is a nice table.
This is headed straight for the Smithsonian, I'm telling you.
Thank you for having me here.
It's a pleasure to have you, because in the 10 lessons, I want to do the book, and then we can talk about all of your marriages and all this other stuff.
Right. All 10 of them, all right.
You have been, I don't want to say down, but
peaks and valleys, highs and lows, you know, yes.
So Miss America, television. You recently did a return to, on Thanksgiving Day.
That's right.
To the pregame show.
With Terry Bradshaw, Howie, you know, JB and Jimmy Johnson. And it was
they're as
wonderful.
good as it gets in that business.
They are fabulous. And that pregame show to me is the best on television. There are other pregame shows, but I think they just had that chemistry that we had back when I did it with Brent Musburger and Irv Cross and Jimmy the Greek. They were very nice to me. I gave them each a book, said a funny little thing to them when I gave it to them. And then at the end, my friend Terry said, well, you know, I'm single. Yes. And you're single. And he said, don't we look cute together? So, of course, you know, Terry.
You could do worse. He's a very, very good
funny.
guy.
He makes me laugh. Yeah, he's down in Denton, where 30 minutes
He's down
from
in North Texas State?
That's right.
Did you go to North Texas State?
University of North Texas.
Did you really?
And TCU.
It used to be North Texas State, didn't it?
Yes, yes, it was. Now we're university.
Yeah, it's University of what?
North Texas.
North Texas.
And then I went to TCU for just a couple of weeks before I went.
One of my favorite parts of the country.
Fort Worth.
Fort Worth.
Love Fort Worth.
That's where you meet the West, we used to say in Fort Worth.
That's right.
Where America meets the West.
Why is my Southern accent coming out sitting here with you? I don't know.
All right, so you've done all these things. Yeah. You also married to Bob Evans.
Right.
Did you see the movie?
The Kid Stays in the Picture?
Kid Stays in the Picture.
Actually, I did see it.
Have you heard all those stories before?
Yes, I have. You know, yes. And
I like him a lot.
Well, I do. I treat him very well in the book.
Do you really?
But I knew that wasn't right for me. I was a little in over my head in that situation.
When you went out to Hollywood?
Yes. And I knew it was time, you know, that's in a chapter in here, Charlie, embrace change as a friend, because you have to know when to make a change when it's not right. And it was a fast lane, and I met a lot of very important people, Warren Beatty, Jack Nicholson, Dustin Hoffman, Kirk Douglas. They were all at the house all the time. And
so
it was
you and
very glamorous.
You and Bob and Warren and Jack.
Yeah, we were all sitting around a round table just like this, having breakfast by the pool. No, it was just lunch, dinner, whatever. And it was a very fascinating man, a brilliant man, a great producer, and it just wasn't right and had to move on.
Okay.
And then
you never remarried, though?
Well, after Bob, then I married John.
Came after John White.
Yes,
yeah,
that's right. And then I moved to Kentucky.
But you and John White have been apart for a while.
For about 5 or 6 years now. Yeah.
Is he remarried?
Yes, he remarried.
He's remarried.
Yes. He remarried. I haven't.
Yeah. But Terry's interested.
Well, a lot of people are interested. Who was it that said, I'd rather have the affection of many than the criticism of one? I'm enjoying the affection of many right now. Was it Kate Hepburn that said that?
I don't know. I'm having fun here.
You are having fun.
10 lessons you turn when you can't.
No,
10 lessons to turn you can't into. Okay, 10 lessons to turn you can't into.
Into yes, I
can. Right.
Yes, I can. All right, so shall I say it?
It would help me during the show if I could read, wouldn't it?
10 lessons to turn you can't into yes, I can.
All right, what
never
are the 10?
Say never.
Let's go.
All right.
First one is say yes to yourself. I know that one by heart.
That's right. And you have to, because never say never begins with saying yes to yourself. That if you don't believe in yourself, no one else will. And what I've done in each chapter is ask a few of my friends to give me their stories. So in that story, I believe there's, in that chapter, there's Muhammad Ali's story. There's a story by Larry King, Liz Smith. And they also share their stories along with mine. And it's a key chapter for the entire book. It kind of sets up the entire book.
All right. Say yes to yourself is number one, ladies and gentlemen. Number two is embrace change.
As a friend.
As your friend.
People are scared of change. It frightens them. They feel insecure, off balance. They feel like it's an enemy, and when in fact it's not. It makes us grow stronger. It makes us more interesting, and it's necessary for growth. And And I've had 5 careers. I've lived in 4 states, and I've had 2 marriages. That's a lot of change. Yeah. And what we have to know is when there's an ending, there's a new beginning, and the cycle keeps going.
You seem pretty healthy to me. I mean, you seem to have come through mentally, emotionally, and Phyllis is okay with Phyllis?
Yes, I'm fine with Phyllis
Okay,
now.
great.
I'm fine with
Now,
Phyllis. You'd be
now,
happy to know that.
Now,
Yes. Yes.
you mean for a while Phyllis was...
I went through a difficult time. I went through a very difficult time. And when I came back to New York, my father had died. My beloved father, Bob, as the grandchildren called him, Bob. I was divorced, and I moved. And those are the three most stressful things that happen in a person's life. And I had to go through all of those things at one time. And it was difficult, Charlie, I'll admit it, when I moved back. And everybody says, but you're Phyllis George.
Yeah.
Well, I was also Phyllis George Brown. I was the former First Lady of Kentucky. I was John's wife. I was Lincoln and Pamela's mother. And, you know, I had to make a decision on where I was going, what I was going to do. And that's the chapter in there, Keep Your Options Open.
Okay, well, let's go down the list so we know
all
where
right.
we're going. But
All right.
in terms of Embrace Change as your friend, witness number one is Roger Staubach, who...
Oh, wonderful
there you go.
story.
A good guy, another
Yeah.
Texan, too.
Yeah.
Doing very well in the real estate business.
Well, he turned pro at 27, and everyone said it could never happen when he served his when he was in the U.S. Naval Academy and served his 4 years in the Navy. And then he said, "I want to be a quarterback in the National Football League," and they laughed at him. They said, "It'll never happen." And Roger has a great quote that said, "There's no traffic jam in the extra mile."
There you go.
It's a great quote. Yeah.
Find a void and fill it. Mm-hmm. You talk about the chicken business.
Right. Did you know I started a chicken company in my kitchen? I didn't think you knew that. When I never wanted to let grass grow under my feet.
The only chicken company I know John Wise started.
Well, I was the first lady of chicken, thank you very much. And at the time, the only woman in the chicken business that owned her own company anyway. It started in my kitchen. I became a mompreneur. I was a mother who wanted to stay at home with her children, who was also an entrepreneur. Started a company of boneless, skinless, marinated chicken breasts.
How did this company do?
Well, I sold it to Hormel.
Did you
a
really?
$3.5 billion company after owning it for 2 years. I sure did.
You started, and 2 years later you sold it.
Sold it to Hormel, the Hormel company.
Now, did you own 100% of this, or at least
we
50?
We had investors, of course,
Okay.
like you do. But I became, you know, that entrepreneurial spirit has always been a part of my life, and we kind of revolutionized the chicken business. No one had ever bought a chicken breast, boned and skinned and marinated in 11 delicious flavors. Now, you laugh, but it tasted good. It was good for you, and it was easy and convenient.
And I wasn't laughing when you went all the way to the bank either,
That's
was I?
right. That's right.
All right. Keep your options open is an important.
That's right. If plan A doesn't work, go to plan B. And if plan B doesn't work, go to plan C. Don't get just stuck in a rut where you think, this is what I'm going to do. I'm never going to change. I'm not going to even look over there. But you have to be ready for chance or other opportunities, because you never know when things may. I came here after I was Miss America wanting to get into news, into broadcasting. I got a job on Candid Camera. That's not exactly what I thought
You
I
and
would
Alan
do.
Funt?
I was the first co-host for Alan. That was an interesting experience, and we don't have enough time today to talk about
Well,
that.
we'll come back. These are interesting stories.
But
Okay.
yeah.
Feel the power of being nice. There's something to be said for being nice.
What do you think about that chapter? A lot of people say, what about
No,
that chapter,
I think-
Phyllis?
I don't think anything's wrong. Leo DeRocha famously said, you know, nice guys finish last. On the other hand, you know, if you feel good about yourself and you can do something nice
And you can
make a
spread.
difference in somebody's
Yeah,
life,
let's spread the
it'll make you
happiness.
feel good.
That's right.
You know?
That's right. And that's what this chapter is about. Niceness is not a weakness.
Yeah.
It's called nice power. It's a quiet power, and it works. And more people should think about that. Everybody has an attitude that, you know, they go around with this big shot, and powerful people aren't supposed to be nice. Well, powerful, successful people are nice. And it is an asset. And it's very important to read this chapter. There's something in there called positive, negative, positive. And again, I could go into it. We don't have time. But it's interesting about how you sandwich a negative between two positives when you're dealing with employees, friends, family, whatever.
All right, keep your life isn't perfect, and sometimes perfect is the enemy of good. We know that too, don't we?
That's right.
All right.
I'm listening to you.
Should be
Go
writing.
ahead. Yeah.
Keep your perspective is
Look
where
at
I
the
am.
big picture.
You got to know it.
You know,
Yeah.
you got to look at the big picture. These little things in life that we get all worked up about, it doesn't make it a step back and look at the big picture and size it up that way. And I went through some situations that I talk about in the book where I learned that lesson the hard way. By the way, this is all hard-earned wisdom, hard-earned lessons. And
You know, it's hard to have sympathy for Phyllis.
well, no, I was told never my whole life.
You were told never?
Never.
Phyllis,
You can
you're
never
reaching
do
to-
this. You can never do that. That can't happen. That'll never work. And believe it or not, any hardworking person that tells you that their life is, you think it's easy and glamorous, it's not. We've all had to go through those ups and downs and peaks and valleys. I share those with everyone. I think it's important because I want people to get that strength and confidence to believe that they can do it. Finally, the last chapter, of course.
Just learn to laugh at yourself.
You can't take yourself so seriously. I mean, we all say things we wish we hadn't said, or do things we wish we shouldn't have done. It's a wonderful chapter, and I learned when all is said and done, if you can look at life in humorous ways. And Dr. Norman Vincent Peale was my spiritual mentor, and he taught me that. And that's how I try to look at life now, because I've certainly had an extraordinary life, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. You know what? And if you will just tell more of that story in the next book, we'll all be the better for it. Never say never. 10 lessons to turn you can't into yes, I can. Phyllis George is my friend, and I'm pleased to have her on here.
Thank you.
And I'm mighty happy to see her doing so well.
Thank you so much,
Thank you, my
Charlie.
dear.
I appreciate it.